Hey guys, I got Kim down here today. Kevin's hanging out. Tom, how you been, Tom?
I'm good.
Now, Kim brought in an awesome old vintage guitar.
With dust.
It's all dusty. Kim, what are we looking at here?
This is a 1962 Gretsch Country Gentleman. It's just like the one George Harrison had. And has this incredibly flamey top, painted F-holes, which they kind of did at this later point, which
1961.
62.
62.
And these are called neoprint markers, as I recall. Boy, I haven't seen those in, what year is this? Anyway.
That's dark rosewood. Yeah, I thought it was that. It's dark rosewood.
Gonna whisper?
And this is a master volume.
Okay.
These are dial-up mutes, so if you're like a jazz player, you know, you get, actually, you can dial it up. And if you're fretting, it'll give you that Mrs. Brown, you got a lovely daughter sound. Nowadays, they probably just put an engine in there and it would go.
A little electric motor, huh? How about
So-
that? So it's kind of palm muting for if you guys didn't think, oh, it's just palm mute right then, huh?
Yeah,
Back in
and
62.
this is a volume and tone for these. This is all the switches on this thing is weird because there's one where they're dead and they don't work. And then these are separate for pickups, but they have this thing where apparently a capacitor kicks in and the tone drops to a more mellow, jazzy tone. And Chet Atkins said, don't do that. So, of course, they did. It's got the Bigsby tailpiece. I forget which B this is. It's like a B7 or something. Tailpiece, as I recall. It's been years since I
And
actually
is
thought
that
about
brass? Or is it like gold plated?
No, it's plated. And because this is the Country Gentleman, most likely, that may be gold plated. I wouldn't swear to it. And the bridge, the roller bridge. It actually has Chet Atkins' name on it still at that point. Before he left and went to Gibson, and then he left Gibson because they sucked.
Don't say that. We love Gibson stuff.
Oh, yeah, I do too, you know, provided they're before 1965, 66.
Tuners.
Yes,
The
these are
Empire
the
tuners.
Grover Imperial
Yeah.
tuners. You will see these on some of the Flying V's
Yeah.
and stuff, and D'Angelicos.
The Angelical, that's right. New York.
Yeah, and Jim D'Aquisto, who
Yep,
took over
yep.
for John.
Yep.
And they are just the coolest
See,
looking
it's got
tuners.
this zero nut.
Yeah, the
Zero
only
fret.
way it would, zero fret.
Zero
yeah.
fret.
The only way these would be cool is if it had the stair step tailpiece.
Mm-hmm.
Nonetheless, it's just beautiful. Just beautiful.
So they just decided just to paint these FOs on there, huh?
Oh,
You know, my buddy Nathan, he was talking about one of these when he was in here earlier. Well, look at all this back here, huh? There's those tuners we were talking
yeah,
about.
Grover Imperials. They're amazing. I say you can find them on some Flying V's, but the Flying V was basically treated like an SG. I mean, it had dots on the neck. You know, they just weren't considered. And they were made out of African limbo wood, which became trademark Carina wood, which is actually deadly poisonous. If you inhale like the dust, go to the hospital.
Oh.
What is this wood on this neck? Is this mahogany? Or what do you think?
Yeah. It's in strips, as I recall, together.
Now, these things are notorious for the binding to just rot away. So that's just a protective
take it
cover.
Well, there's a reason for it.
So you can get to the electronics.
Exactly.
It's a great idea. And that's Bakelite, this material.
Don't touch it.
I know, because it'll fall and it'll
No,
just
because I
disintegrate.
use Spinal Tap as a reference
Oh, it's
whenever
like
I can.
that stuff will disintegrate
ever
under your
touched it.
fingers. That's cool, man. That is really
It was a long time before I was like, what is under these things?
I can't believe you took it off.
Well, now, because I knew what was under it,
They're always on them.
I wanted to see if there was still the cover. It actually says Gretsch on the cover.
So if you were to, oh, and look at this area right here where somebody had one of those, a strap or something that kind of came underneath this area or something. Isn't that what they did right there?
I always strapped it here and here. It might have been on a stand because it would have.
Because to me that looks like an
that.
area where you had some sort of a strap or something.
Maybe in the case. And then it
Something
would
in
get
case
the,
of
that, I forget what it's called, acidosis effect, where the strap in the case melts through the finish if it's an old lacquer finish.
What do you think the cost of, what was the cost of this guitar in 1962? Yeah, this is crazy right here. You turn this
Yeah, I think it
knob.
might have been closer to like $469.
See, Tom knows because he was alive back then.
I think, but I'm guessing.
Look at that. Man.
Yeah,
That
because
is
it's the
so-
country gentleman, so it's more like the 355.
Right.
Familiar
That
with
is
that?
so cool.
I actually have a 355.
I've only seen them in the dark purple. I've never seen one in the wood. You know, that maroon color that they were. It's a beautiful guitar. Be careful. You end up having to buy.
Okay, so I keep wanting to talk value. What
Yeah,
is the
it's not
value
gonna
of
be
this
pricey.
guitar the way it sets right now?
Well, probably about $3,500, maybe $4,000 there. I got it for a lot less than that because I got it from my friend. But Gretches, you can get Gretches for ridiculously cheap. These nicer ones, the only one that's probably still really expensive is the 6120, which is the orange one that everybody played for rockabilly and Brian Setzer had. And therefore the market on those is probably above $7,500 or more for a nice one. And the rest of them are just like, oh, wow. I'll buy that. It's only like twice the price of a Chinese one, so.
Pretty freaking cool, man.
So I figured I would come in before I took it in, getting it rebound.
You ever had a refret or anything on it?
No.
So you're going to take it in and have it gone through?
I'm going to take it in and see what we can do with the binding in regards to trying to save as much of it as I can. I have an ashtray. I don't smoke, but I have an ashtray at home filled with
Oh,
these
wow.
as they come off. Because every time I take it out, it comes off. But
Right.
those are pieces that aren't savable.
It's
And, you know, it's Bakelite.
a
Although-
Side, that's going to cost you a pretty penny.
I've heard stories that it's like $2,000 to put brand new binding all around this whole thing.
I got two estimates, and one was $1,500 before I bought it. And the other was through someone I know, and that's around $600, maybe $700. But I think I can go find cheap older Gibsons and lap steels with binding. Take the binding off if it's intact on those,
And then
and use it for this. Yeah, possible. As a matter of fact, I only just thought of that while I was actually thinking about it. It's like, oh shit! why don't I
Just
do that?
happened. Well, Kim, you want to play this thing a little bit for us? Of course you do. Here we go, guys.
Oh, about the binding?
Yeah.
Yeah, even though the binding Bakelite is going on this model, on the neck, it doesn't appear to be too bad on the plain side, but and the other side is just intact, basically all the way up. So there's nothing wrong with it. Which
I've heard stories about it actually being inside the case is what causes that.
the shrinkage,
Yep.
period of time, temperature, weather,
Yeah.
You know, humidity. And then we're here.
Because the neck isn't actually setting on anything on the inside of the case. But the whole rest of the guitar is against that fabric that's in the case.
That's what, oh really?
That's the story.
Well, they are in a little bit, but it's not a lot of pressure usually on the neck because the neck is already set. And so it's already, and so there's usually, I think it's right around here in the Gretsch case. Fender cases, it's got further up. So Gibson cases are like around here, depending on what series of your case you get.
So let me ask you another question. Does that have the wooden block that runs through the whole thing, or is that completely hollow?
You know what? I'm not absolutely sure about the construction on this. Generally, the block is something that's been reserved for Gibsons and stuff before 1963, 64. So if Gretsch was doing it, they might have that. I've never actually read anything specific to that. And like I said in the other one, what a great question. And then you said, yeah, you should go study this stuff. Well, you didn't say it like that. I did. So in order to learn all that stuff, I think I'm going to go to Roberto Venn.
Roberto Venn, there you go.
To learn about structure, you know. So, well, I love all the Beatles stuff. I mean, it's just... Because you have the stuff where they're singing and then you hear the... With Mass, I should have practiced that.
What stuff did George Harrison, when he played that guitar, not that guitar, but that model of guitar, what song, what was the big song? Or what was the album?
The first few albums, She Loves You, and I saw her stand there.
Oh, yeah.
Those licks, and let's see. Licks for, I should remember the name of this stuff. When I was younger, help.
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 That's right.
Help. Help. Help.
Give us a little Day Tripper.
Oh, see. That's a great tune because it changes, it modulates the key when the lead comes in because it's in E, then A. Modulates again, and then again, and then the lead is in B. It's just basically off that lick. Paul played a lot of leads over the stuff that George wrote, like Taxman stuff.
So can you figure out how to do a little neck pickup on that, where we can hear just the neck?
Give me some neck. Just give me a little neck. I think John said that, Lennon. I don't know if that's the neck, but it's more of that tone.
It is.
So that's a slide. That's a great slide part.
Try a little bit of just the bridge pickup for us.
Great
Very
lick.
cool.
Another great. Yeah. Rain is actually tuned to G, so it's tuned different
Right.
than this one.
Did the Beatles use a lot of weird tunings, or were they like standard tuning most
They
of the
were
time?
pretty much standard. They liked the capo a lot. She said. I don't have a capo on me. I usually do. One guitar is capoed on the first fret, and the other guitar is capoed on the third fret. And it's like. So.
Pretty cool.
Great tune. Wow, I should just make a list if I'm going to break in and what is played.
Yeah.
On the
in
Gretsch.
standard, yeah.
But the only other tuning I really know of that they used was the G tuning. But they used pretty much every chord in the spectrum, including the 7-flat-9 chord, which is usually a weird jazz chord, because you never hear it, because it's, you got that. But there is a song where it's,
Oh yeah, that sounds. Oh, that's how she's so heavy. That's a good one. Kim, thank you so much for bringing that thing in today, man.
thank you.
All right, we'll see you next time.
Yes.
Okay, bye-bye.